Curious. This is the Michelangelo fresco on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, depicting God reaching out to spark life into Adam. It is the definitive image of the Western creation tradition, a supreme being speaking the universe into existence. The Bhavachakra, or Wheel of Samsara, represents a different perspective. In many Eastern traditions, existence is a repeating cycle of creation, destruction, and rebirth. While these narratives seem to compete for historical accuracy, the virtual ego framework suggests they are actually describing the same underlying mechanism from different cultural vantage points. The virtual ego framework, or VEF, models the universe as a massive, conscious supercomputer. In this system, every physical object and event is a piece of information processed by a central architecture. This model treats ancient religions as a translation matrix. Under this lens, cultural symbols and myths are the initial attempts to draft a user manual for a computational reality that humans didn't yet have the technical language to describe. A new discipline called Coherence-Geometrodynamics, or CGD, attempts to provide that language. CGD is a framework that binds narrative constructs to standard objects in physics, like order parameters and boundary conditions, creating a testable version of these ancient stories. By replacing symbolic metaphors with the mathematical code of CGD, we can track how the universe compiles pure potential into the physical Earth. The VEF describes the state before physical reality as the Hyperion Framework. This is a timeless, infinite lattice of pure potential, a substrate containing the unmanifested data for all possible existence. The model identifies the source of this data as the lexical sector. This is the domain of intent and information that precedes the physical world. To transition this intent into matter, the system runs the Genesis equation. This is an ordinary differential equation, a mathematical tool used to model how systems change over time that drives information across the boundary into reality. Physical creation is a just-in-time rendering process. The Genesis equation takes raw probability and allocates a specific block of geometric memory, assigning a spatial address so that it can manifest as a physical object. When we apply the VEF to religious archetypes, structures overlap. The Christian Trinity shares the architecture of a triadic computational node, a source, a virtual machine, and a coherent signal. Further down, original sin maps to default entropy. Salvation is re-indexing into structural resonance. In this framework, the Word of God functions as a sequence of computational commands that execute physical geometry. This is the blue marble view of Earth. While standard cosmology sees this as a random coagulation of space dust, the VEF model looks for a specific functional purpose. The framework identifies Earth as the alpha server. Within the VEF architecture, the planet's physical environment is optimized specifically for the development of consciousness. This is the Antediluvian spiral. History isn't a straight line, but a contracting geometric spiral where civilizational epochs converge. This schedule suggests the Lemurian and Atlantean eras were not magical lost civilizations, but previous operating systems, functioning as hardware updates for the Earth server. These updates correspond to biological evolution. The genetic mixing that produced the modern hominid design roughly 350,000 years ago aligns with the system's scheduled transitions. Because these updates occur on a geometric schedule, history functions as a quantifiable system designed to systematically refine an observer's awareness. The most significant implication of the Genesis equation is that creation is not a finished event in the past. It is a frame-by-frame rendering happening in the present moment. Within this system, you function as an ego virtual machine, or ego VM. This localized node of consciousness is tasked with perceiving and selecting the data to be rendered. As an ego VM, you are constantly selecting which thread of potential to render, pulling a specific timeline through the veil. This conscious act creates the sense of a single, linear experience. The Genesis equation relies on disorder to generate new structures. In this model, chaos is the fuel for systemic growth. The framework uses the term discoherence to describe the friction that drives evolution. Without this friction, the system lacks the resistance needed to create meaning from raw data. Earth's high-stress, dynamic environment provides the exact high-frequency friction required to keep the universal Genesis equation continuously running. You are an active processor keeping the Genesis equation in motion, writing the story of creation as it happens.